How to participate in an empathy, emotion, empathy circle. Firstly, some expectations for the participants in our circle are that you come to the circle ready to fully engage in the process, that you stay for the full 2-hour session, and that you participate with your camera turned on. All of these things help to preserve the energy in the circle and create a welcoming, open space where people feel that they can share openly and authentically. So there are 4 roles in the empathy circle: the speaker, active listener, silent listener, and facilitator roles. And these will rotate throughout the empathy circle process, apart from the facilitator, who will remain the same person throughout the entire circle. And the facilitator can also take on the speaker, active listener, and silent listener roles throughout the circle, in addition to their role as facilitator. So firstly, the speaker, they are invited to share 1 to 2 ideas at a time before pausing and waiting for their active listener to reflect what they've just heard. They are invited to share either about the empathy circle topic that has been chosen for that day or whatever is alive for them in the moment. And they're asked to have an awareness of facilitator signs that might be shown during their turn. The active listener role is there to reflect back the 1 or 2 ideas at a time that the speaker is sharing, refraining from adding their own comments, questions, thoughts, or judgments. Their role is simply to reflect back what the speaker has said, using the same words or paraphrasing slightly, whatever is their preference. The active listener will get a chance to share whatever they would like to share during their turn as speaker. So whilst actively listening, you are simply reflecting what you're hearing. The silent listener role is an important role that helps to maintain the energy in the empathy circle, and it's a great opportunity to observe the interaction between speaker and active listener, to practice being mindful, being in the moment, and to really pay attention and actively listen yourself. Even though you are not reflecting, you can still be present with what's being shared and practice your listening skills. During your time as silent listener is when we would invite you to take a break if you need it, whilst turning your camera off so that the energy in the circle is preserved. So you can, take a break if you need it during your turn as silent listener. The last role, the facilitator, they will be experienced in participating and facilitating empathy circles. They're there to make sure that the process runs smoothly. They keep the times for each turn, and they have a couple of signs that they might hold up. So there'll be a time up sign shown at the end of the speaker's turn, and also a remember to pause sign if the speaker is sharing a lot of information at once without pausing. They're there to answer queries or questions if needed, to remind people how the roles rotate at the end of the turn, and will be an experienced presence in the circle. So the empathy circle starts with the facilitator acting as the active listener, and they will invite a volunteer to be the first speaker. So the speaker will share 1 to 2 ideas. This will be able to be heard by the entire group, but kind of directed towards the active listener. The active listener will then reflect back those 1 to 2 ideas that have just been shared by the speaker. And this will go back and forth for 4 or 5 minutes, depending on how many people are in the circle during that session. So the speaker speaks, the active listener reflects, the speaker will share again, the active listener will reflect again, and this may happen kind of 3, 4, maybe even 5 times during that turn. At the end of the turn, the facilitator holds up the time up sign as a signal to the speaker to come to the end of their thoughts. The active listener will reflect back if needed, and the speaker will then say something along the lines of, "I feel fully heard," as a signal that they've been heard and that they're ready to end their turn. Then the roles will rotate. So whoever has just been the speaker will now become a silent listener. Whoever has just been the active listener will now become the new speaker. And as the new speaker, they will invite somebody who has previously been the silent listener to become their new active listener. The facilitator will remain the same person, although they can take on the roles of speaker, active listener, and silent listener. So this was a summary of the roles and expectations in the empathy circle, and we invite you to check out our other videos if you haven't watched them already for some more context on what an empathy circle is, what to expect at our empathy circle sessions, which explains more about how the full session works, including the introduction and the debrief at the end.